In the Western world, there's been a huge crackdown on tobacco. Here in Australia, of course, we're about to see the start of plain packaging. While big tobacco's market shrinks here and elsewhere, it's refocusing its sales efforts on developing countries like Indonesia. The result is a massive increase in smoking rates, including among children. Indonesia correspondent Matt Brown reports on the plight of one little boy who's found it impossible to kick the habit.
Hadi Ilham is just 8 years old, but he's already been smoking for 4 years.
I'm just wanting cigarettes. Just wanting them.
While this is undoubtedly a shocking sight, it's also disturbingly common in Indonesia, which has around 5 million child smokers.
Indonesia faces a public health tragedy from smoking that's probably as great or greater as any nation in the world. With so many children starting, they're facing a true epidemic.
Ilham lives in the little village of Karawangiran, about 120 kilometres south of Jakarta. Parents here are often ignorant about basic child health, well-being and discipline. Against that backdrop, the tobacco industry is selling a health hazard so ubiquitous it's almost impossible for kids to avoid.
Where did you get the cigarettes? From the people. They sometimes give me cigarettes.
There's no other country where a third of all kids try a cigarette before the age of 10. And in Indonesia, where over 60% of men smoke, over 80% of them started as a child.
Ilham's addiction has taken him on an extraordinary and traumatic journey. It began when his father sent him to the local shop to fetch a packet of cigarettes. Pretty soon, Ilham was buying them in secret for himself. When his parents cut off his pocket money, he resorted to stealing to fund his habit.
When we didn't give him money and he found rice at home, he'd go selling the rice. Anything he could sell in the house, he would sell.
His parents didn't know how to discipline their own son. They were no match for his craving for nicotine, and Ilham became an angry, overstimulated little boy.
I feel sad, regretful and ashamed that I could not educate my child.
Ilham will smoke anything he can get his hands on, but his favourite brand is U Mild, owned by the global tobacco giant Philip Morris.
What ads do you remember seeing? Ones like U Mild, Super? Do you know who made them? I don't know.
Ilham's parents say his plight is proof the industry targets children and must be reined in.
If I see people installing cigarette ads around here now, I say to them, "Dude, stop putting that here. Look what you've done to my son. My boy is a victim of the cigarette companies. Don't you care at all about him?"
Indonesia is a reflection of what happens when you allow the tobacco industry to do whatever they want to make their products appealing to children, and you do virtually nothing to educate your population.
When Ilham was featured on local TV in March, a national children's charity invited his family to join a rehabilitation program in Jakarta.
What I want to achieve is to bring back the real children's world. Ilham needs to enjoy his playtime. He's got a right to go to school and a right to be healthy.
After a month in rehab, Ilham was released, but little had been achieved. It was not a happy homecoming, and Ilham's ordeal was about to take another terrible twist. His parents were devastated when Ilham ran away from home. It was 3 weeks before Ilham was found, trying to steal from a mosque donation box 300 kilometres away.
I feel disappointed that I couldn't take care of my own child perfectly. Now he even has a new weapon. He says, "If you don't give me cigarettes, I will run away again." As a parent, I now fear of losing him once more.
It's well known that the industry turned to places like Indonesia as regulations tightened up in the developed world. But the statistics on child smoking paint a truly damning picture. Over the last 20 years or so, the rate of children smoking in the US has halved, and in Australia it's fallen even more. But in Indonesia, it's tripled in less than 10 years. The National Children's Charity says big tobacco and the government are equally to blame, and it's planning to sue both, using Ilham as one of its case studies.
I cried because children became victims of a greedy state which fails to protect public health, and a greedy cigarette industry which is only focused on making profits.
Indonesia is the only country in Southeast Asia which hasn't signed the International Convention on Tobacco Control. Draft new laws being prepared right now are much weaker than the convention requires. But the industry and its supporters, like opposition MP Hendrawan Supratikno, are fighting even those.
I consider it economic terrorism because, you know, this industry has contributed a lot for the country, okay?
The industry's lobbyists have already succeeded in weakening the draft laws, cutting health warnings from 50% down to 40% of a pack. And a plan to limit billboards to 16 square metres is blown out to allow 72 square metres. And that'd make something like this look positively modest.
Neither Philip Morris nor the industry lobby group would be interviewed for this program, but they insist they do not target children. And it's not their fault that most of their new customers get the taste when they're too young to know what's good for them.
Matt Brown with that report.